Hey everybody, good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this thing. Good to be with you again. We are moving into a new week this week, and I have a great new theme for you that is going to last just a couple of weeks, I guess. There's a key verse for us that we find in Ephesians 1:18 and 19, and let me read this to you. Verse 18, I pray also that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in the saints. It's this thing about the eyes of your heart that intrigues me. The eyes of your heart, you mean your heart has eyes? According to the passage, apparently it does. We talk about physical eyes, don't we? Where if you stumble over something and you kick your toe, you say, man, I wish I'd opened my eyes. And it's always a painful experience when you don't open your eyes and walk around in the dark and you can hurt yourself. That's physical eyes. Then we have sort of intellectual eyes as well. These are the eyes of our minds. And these are the ones that we stimulate with different thoughts and different subjects and different people's opinions. And we need to open the minds, the eyes of our minds, in order to be able to adjust to maybe some fresh kind of thinking. But this is talking about the eyes of your heart. It's not physical, it's not intellectual, it's the emotional aspect of who we are as believers. Many people get stuck on the intellectual aspect. They think I've got to understand everything. They think I've got to be able to make sense of all the stuff that the Bible says. And I'm sure there is something inside of us that is legitimately looking for that kind of thing. But if we do that at the expense of opening the eyes of our hearts, then we will surely find ourselves in trouble. So this passage speaks about the eyes of your heart are going to know the hope to which you have been called. That's the first thing. Secondly, your eyes are going to be open to the riches of his glorious inheritance. And then thirdly, the incomparable great power for us who believe. All three aspects of this are covered in this particular passage. But I want to take it a little step further and say, if the eyes of your heart are opened, what are they going to see? If your eyes are opened, you're going to see something, unless you're completely blind. But your eyes of your heart are going to see a few things. Let's focus on these for today and the next couple of days. The first thing that the eyes of your heart are going to see is you're going to see God as he is. Not God as you perceive him to be, not as God as you want to invent him to be, but you will surely see him as he is. There's no better biblical example of this than the story of Isaiah. Isaiah was familiar with the things of God. He was familiar with going to the temple, making the sacrifices, and being a part of the whole religious system of the day. But one day, everything changed when the eyes of his heart were opened to see God as he is. Now, he was in grief. The king had just died, and sometimes it takes a catastrophic event in our lives to open our eyes. Up until that time, we're all just going on as if nothing had ever happened. But when a catastrophe takes place in your life, all of a sudden you say, man, what am I not seeing? What am I missing here? And Isaiah said he went to the temple in his dream. He had a vision. And as he walked in, he saw God as he had never seen him before. Now, he was fully familiar with his perception of God. He was familiar with the way that he perceived God to be. But on this particular day, he saw God like never before. He goes on to describe it in Isaiah chapter 6, from verse 1 to verse 9. He says, I saw the Lord. Man, he was high. He was lifted up. And his train filled the temple. And the angels were crying, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. Now that's an incredible experience to have. When you see God as not holy once, but holy three times, holy, 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 he's trying to make a point here that God is holy in all he is. In his nature, in his personality, in his dealings with man, in his creation, God is holy, which simply means that he's set high above us. He's set high above everything. He's higher than his creation. He's higher than the angels. The book of Hebrews talks about how much God is better than everything else because he's higher. He is God. And you say, well, Trevor, we know that. We've been taught that from Sunday school. But I'm saying maybe the eyes of your heart have got dulled. Maybe we need to see him freshly as holy, high, and lifted up. I made a thought here of some things that I thought in the language of the superlatives. And when we think of the superlatives of God, a superlative is just an expression that you can't get higher than. This is the highest expression of something. It could be the highest expression of love or bliss or whatever. There are some unbelievable superlatives that came to my mind over the issues of who God is in the realm of his holiness. Can I read a few of these to you? And I've gone with the different letters to make it easier. God is unfathomable. The depth of who he is, you'll never measure it. He's beyond understanding. You try and understand him, you try and comprehend him, way beyond you. He's unimaginably great. You know, we have this perception of God that unfortunately for many of us is so small. We have a God that we can understand. But this God is undeniably, unimaginably great, way beyond your wildest dreams or your expectations. He's undisputably king as well. No one will match him. He is the King of kings. Revelation tells us that the kings of the earth will throw down their crowns in front of him, and they will say, crown him, for he is the Lord of all. He is the King of kings. We are just mere mortals. So put that one and smoke that one in your pipe. It's amazing how these beautiful truths just come to light in the fact of who God is. He's uncontainable. I love that song that we sing in church sometimes about these beautiful superlatives of God. You can't contain him. The heavens can't contain him. How on earth do you think you're going to contain him in your mind and your thinking or in your perception? He's way beyond all of this. Then move into the I category. He's incomprehensible. You'll never understand him. He's incomparable. There is none like him. He's insatiable, that he's never satisfied. He is always after the good. He's indescribable. He's indestructible. He's incontestable. Don't try and mess with him. Don't try and contest in your opinions with him. He's outweighing you. He's incorruptible. In his perfection, in his holiness, he is totally incorruptible. He is individual. There's no one like him. He's immeasurable. He's impeachable. He's imperishable. He's immense. And I guess above all, he is incredible. Every one of these different aspects. Then I'll move quickly into the M category, where I suggest to you he's mighty, he's majestic, he's magnificent. He is a mystery. He is the one and answer he will answer to no one. He's all-knowing, he's all-powerful, he's ever-present, he stands alone, he stands above people. He is holy. So what I'm going to ask you to do today is just comprehend, if you can, stretch your imaginations as to the bigness and the wonder of this God who is ours. And he is ours. If we are his, he is ours. Have a great day. Bye.